to order. Maureen, will you lead us tonight, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Tammy, will you take us through roll call, please?
Yes, I will. Those present are Mayor Shaw, Council Members Baker, Johnson, Armbruster, Kemp, and McVeigh. Staff present is myself, Tammy Justice. Adam Lyons, our city engineer, Jim Gibson, our city planner, and Lieutenant Semper. Right? And excused tonight is Public Works Supervisor Ron Gibson and City Attorney.
Bill's in England. Tammy talked to him on the phone today.
Yes, I did.
What time was it in England?
He was going to bed in an hour, so I think it was.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Tammy. Look for approval of agenda, please, Council.
I move to amend the agenda
Okay.
to add two things: Michigan Street crossing and candidate for and under new business.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion, a second, to amend the agenda and add two topics to the new business. Any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you. Motion passed 5-0. Thank you, Council. Now we'll look for approval of agenda.
As amended.
Second.
There's a motion, a second, to approve the amended agenda. Any further discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed 5-0. Thank you, Council. I now ask somebody to approve the consent agenda, please.
I move to approve the consent agenda to include May 23rd claim vouchers 7749 through 7765 and 3 EFTs in the amount of $37,150.32. And the May 9th, 2023 meeting minutes, June 13th claim vouchers 7772 through 7788 and 4 EFTs in the amount of $58,263.38. And the May payroll in the amount of $42,689.05 and the May treasury report. Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed 5-0. Thank you, Council. Public comment is now open.
There is nobody signed up.
Nobody's present from the public. Jim, you're not speaking as a public member today?
Not today.
Cameron? No, I didn't think so. That makes it easy. No public comment. Now we'll go around and do staff reports. Jim, you're sitting on the right. You got anything tonight?
I am sitting out here alone tonight.
Yeah?
So it's been pretty quiet on the planning side of things. We're just processing some building permits up on Tipsoo Loop. And we also have a couple building permits up on the hill up here on Cody Street. So that's going through fine. We are having some conversations, and I haven't even had a chance to talk to anybody about this, so this is a little bit new to everybody. Legislature's passed some additional rules this year that we're going to have to all take a look at. One of them is ADU units. That's accessory dwelling units, and how they're allocated, designed, what's allowed. So statewide, they passed laws that will require us to allow ADU units in single-family homes. So if you have a home and you want to put in a small unit in the back for to rent, then it's going to be allowed with some criteria involved. So we don't have to address it right now. The only reason I'm bringing it up is there is a party in town that has already sent me the bill and says, we want to talk about this. So it's going to happen here sooner than later.
The trailer was burned.
I did get an email from our attorney this morning, Bill. I asked him how quickly I need to address this. He did text me from England. And he said not right at the moment, but we will have to address it. He did say if the applicant comes forward today and wants to do this right away, then we got to find a way to approve it. It's a state law now, but we'll need to look at our code and make some adjustments for it. Other than that, it's not anything the council has to deal with. It's just something is in our windscreen that we're going to have to deal with. So there's other ones that came also out through the legislature, but I haven't reviewed them all yet. Bill and I are going to get back together when he gets back and go through those.
What did you say the A was for?
Accessory,
Oh,
ADU. Right now, our code allows an ADU, but only for 4 reasons. It'd be a caretaker, accessory, like a maintenance man, family member, or there's one other one I'm trying to think of. But it's all based on assisting that house or assisting the business. This new one is open to rent and for anybody to use. It's the way the state's come about trying to offer low-income housing to folks that can't afford the pricing of single-family homes now.
so are there minimums or maximums for square footage?
There is minimums, maximums. It's not fully. I believe the maximum right now is 1,000 square feet. So at 1,001, it wouldn't classify as an ADU. It would be a home. It's less than 1,000.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Jim. So I'd like to introduce our new lieutenant, Cameron Simper. I'm sorry about that. Before Cameron goes over his report, I would like him to give an introduction, share with us what department, some of the things you just shared with me, and you can sit down. As you notice, when we go around generally, you don't have to stand up, and don't be shocked that usually there's nobody sitting over there. Some meetings we may get 1 or 2 people sitting there. So
as he stated, I'm Cameron Semper. I'm a lieutenant with Thurston County. Just recently had a change in responsibilities. I've been up in detectives for 11 of the last 13 years, with a brief stay in patrol as a sergeant back in 2014. So I've been with Thurston County for 18 years. Prior to that, I was with the city of Napavine down in Lewis County for 2 years. Interesting fun fact, my first law enforcement oral board was in this very room during the Nisqually earthquake. We were having our oral board when the earthquake happened and had to step outside. But Napavine hired me first. So I would work there, stayed exactly 2 years, and then ran for Thurston County, where I've been ever since. As I stated, I spent most of my career in detectives. My last assignment was I ran the detective division, oversaw hiring, public information, and all investigations for the county. And so it was time for a change, and back in patrol I came, and I'm in week 2 back in the patrol division. In my time in Thurston County, I've done just about everything from patrol to explorers, marine services, dive rescue, SWAT. So I've had a good run, and I'm ready for a change of pace. Happy to be here with you folks, get acquainted with the city. So like I said, just took over June 1st in this role. I sent over the stats for May. Nothing super noteworthy. There were a couple of collisions that I'll be working with the city on, trying to get some insurance information from these drivers, if possible. With Frank Frawley's retirement coming up, a new selection was made for his replacement. That's going to be Deputy Andrew Hansen, who will be starting next fall in the school district here and helping the city. He's got several years under his belt and has done quite a bit with our agency as well. He's a young up-and-comer, so I think you'll have a good experience with Deputy Hansen here, replacing Frank Frawley. Frank Frawley's hard to replace, but Deputy Andrew Hansen brings a different tone. And like I said, young and up-and-comer, I think he'll do good things here. But I'll be the direct point of contact for any of your guys' needs with the city, so feel free to reach out.
any questions for Lieutenant?
Thank you.
We'll keep you busy.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you. Thank you. Adam, besides, I know you're on the agenda a lot, so do you have anything besides what's on the agenda?
Yeah, well, the crosswalk is nearing completion. I didn't get a chance to run up there before the meeting, but if you guys have any comments, if you checked it out, let me know. There's still a lead time on the rapid flashing beacon, so I'm not quite sure. It might be a few more months before that's installed.
Are they going to put some crosswalk signs up before the rapid beacons?
Before?
Why can't be a surprise if you're on it before you realize it? And I imagine people aren't really in town, aren't even see the crosswalk because they're past it.
I don't have the plans on me off the top of my head. I thought there are signs before. I'll have to check.
They're gonna reduce the speed
Nice.
as well, what they were doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no signs at all, that's what I was asking that.
Yeah. I mean, all that, everything's on order still, so yeah, it'll be installed. That's it.
Any more questions for Adam?
I just have one concern. I really like what they did, but they built that right across these idiots' quad path, and because of the dip there, they built it up about 2 feet. So there's a nice hump there. I'm concerned that these jerks are going to start jumping that thing and start tearing down the embankment and eventually damage the pathway. I don't know what we can do to prevent that, but it's something that concerns me.
Put a fence up along there, maybe, or something like
Put
that.
bollards. on
Or
the
something
side.
decorative that would do the same thing, something lower,
Spikes?
Something.
Yeah, this is a problem in the sports court design too, because at the edge of it, on the highway side, there's the stormwater infiltration trench, and it's being installed right over this unofficial path. So we're kind of thinking, well, what's the point of putting this there if it's just going to get ripped up? I think the solution would be bollards. But I'll go check it out after this meeting.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful, they did a great job.
Yeah, good.
It looks good.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I went out yesterday afternoon and walked, it's really nice.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? I guess I'm going to bounce. Dennis brought something, or Adam brought something up that made me think, so I'm going to come back to you, Cameron.
Sure.
You're aware that speed limits can change on 507? Were you aware of that before tonight?
I believe that was mentioned. I think that would be Frawley had told me.
Okay,
something about
so
that.
I don't know about, in the past, you guys have given us, or we've had the radar sign put out. I mean, I know that's been a concern for the council, is when that speed limit goes into effect. It's moved out now to about the storage units, isn't it, Adam? Where it's going to change speed limits at, or is it out closer to the trestle?
I don't know yet.
I hope it's close
They,
to the
they were
process.
supposed to do this in May, and they're still sitting on it, so.
Just, that may be your task of once that speed limit gets changed, because DOT is going to have to put the sign up, right? That'll all be there, that maybe we want to be prepared to patrol that, maybe giving warnings, not tickets, but, something to educate people that there's a change of speed limit, because you come up that hill, and if you don't abide by it, you're going to be on that crosswalk in a hurry.
Typically, what I've seen WashDOT do is they put a sign up, traffic or speed limit revision ahead. They put the new sign up with dual orange sticks on top,
Yeah.
trying to get everybody's attention. That's what they did a couple years ago going through Tenino. That same way when they lowered the speed limit there.
That's a code requirement for state. They have flags up for 90 days, I believe.
It's just something that may come up here in the next couple months. Thank you, Adam. Council, Dennis.
I attended TRPC, and they did a little ceremony for Karen Parker, who's been there for 23 years and is retiring, and sent a card around for everybody to sign. She's been a big supporter of us. And, so I kind of hate to see her go. TRL, the library system, announced that they're kind of going retro. They're going back to bookmobiles. And in fact, on June 21st at 10:30 a.m. at the Senior Center, the TRL director and some staff will be here to show off their bookmobile and tell people what's going to happen. I think that's a great thing for communities like ours that don't have a library. And, so that's a good thing. Other than that, not a lot's going on. They're doing a rural mobility strategy update, which may affect us, because that's basically South County and secondary roads. And hopefully that will help. Let's see, I think that's it for TRPC. And anything else I have is going to be under new business.
Thank you, Dennis. Any questions for Dennis? Ron?
Nothing new other than tomorrow I get my transportation policy board again.
Okay.
Always comes most of the time, day after it comes.
Any questions for Ron? Thank you, Ron. Tom?
Just that we had our monthly radio emergency management check, and we had 99% participants. The only ones that have a problem is the fire department, and that's basically because they're usually out on call. So I usually go by, if they're not on, I'll check with them, make sure everything's okay and everything's fine with them. So you get hold of us.
That's good news.
Other than that, staff did a great job, and there's been a lot of great comments about how much work Public Works has been doing around town. Pretty even at a lot. People are really enjoying it. So, let them know.
We will.
Other than that, that's all I got.
Thanks, Tom. Any questions for Tom?
Just a comment on what Tom said. I called the NVN today to renew my subscription, and while I was talking to the young lady, I kind of chewed around about maybe they should change the name of the paper to the Yelm newspaper, and told her about the stuff that's going on, like our flagpoles and flowers and street signs. She was jotting all that down and was going to pass them on to her editor. So maybe we'll actually see some news from Rainier about Rainier, which would really be nice.
They never returned my call on the other stuff either.
Yeah.
Okay, anything for Tom? Thank you, Tom. George?
Yeah, going back to the library, I've been working with Timberland for the last 2 years, trying to bring us on board with the rest of South County, at least the major cities. And we do have a family story time at the Senior Center, which started earlier this year. It's for basically preschool children. That's on Wednesdays. So they're going to kick off the mobile library, the Anywhere Library program, next Wednesday at the Senior Center. And they're talking about possibly King 5 coming up covering this grand opening, because this is going to be the grand opening for the whole county. So everybody here is invited, and I've been asked to invite the council, the mayor, the staff, to come over if they would like on that day. I think it's a big win for Rainier. I think it's an amazing win for Rainier. They also are going to have a couple of programs. I've given you some information. Later on this summer, they're going to have a magic show at the Senior Center. They're going to have a doodle rumpus, whatever that's going to be at the Senior Center later on in the summer. So they're going to try to provide some programs for our kids here in this community. And they're pretty excited about it. We're excited about it. So please come out Wednesday if you can and support this at 10:30. There's going to be a ribbon cutting. I've also talked with St. Martin's, their engineering department, and they are on board to design a stage for Wilkowski Park. And they will be coming out here maybe in August to address the council and tell them what they're up to keep everybody on board with that. But the hope is, again, that they come up with this plan, and we can get it okay somewhere and find somewhere to get a stage out there. The only other thing too is Public Works. We've kind of been seesawing with bodies on that. I don't know if the council wants to take another look at our Public Works department. I don't even know if there's anything we can do to solidify and try to get some permanent employees that might have a future just being on the Public Works department. Just seems we get somebody good and they're gone. Charlie Cross is a perfect example. I mean, he was just a great guy, did a great job for our city, and went someplace else because they paid him some more money. And I just don't know how we fare compared to the other South County municipalities as far as wages and benefits for our Public Works department. Other than that, that's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Any
Good
other?
idea for our retreat.
Retreat, yeah, probably.
Discuss that.
Yeah.
Would be a perfect timing for that.
Any other questions for George?
What time was that library thing again?
10:30.
10:30.
Thank you, George. Maureen?
No, nothing from me.
Any questions for Maureen? Okay. I don't have a lot to report on. There's just a little follow-up on a couple of things some of you guys brought up. I would definitely pass on to Public Works. Ron's not here tonight. I know that we're a little shorthanded, but I'm glad that we're very great, and I'll make sure Ron knows tomorrow. He'll appreciate that comment. Paul, who you both all met at the last meeting, is a workaholic. He is unbelievable, and I'm speaking for both of us, and Tammy's shaking here. I mean, I wish we had everybody like him. He's leaving the shop at 8:10 in the morning, and he's not getting back up there until last Friday. It was 4:22, and he was still on the lawnmower in Wilkowski Park. They're off at 4:30. We haven't had that type of stuff. He's been good, and we know that Will, when Will's here, our part-timers have been doing a great job. So, obviously, you've heard Charlie took another position. So now to answer your question, George, we're in the middle. We're going to be posting that open position here probably next week. We're looking to make that a certification 3 level. So we're going to post it that it is not an entry level, that they need to have certification level 3, which is basically going to be, we're going to see what we get, but city staff is planning on that when we make this hire, we're looking at somebody that may be able to step in and replace Ron in a year and a half. And we're going to make that salary, not a salary, but that hourly rate will be a little bit higher than we've been paying. And Tammy's been running some comps, and so that's kind of where we're going to be on this new position. It won't be what we just hired Paul at. You want to add anything to that?
No, that sums it up. Basically, we're just requiring that they have some water certifications, and obviously the hourly rate will reflect those certifications, with the hope that they want to step into the supervisor position in 18 months. So we'll see. I know that it's going to be an interesting fit because, we can't pay probably what a lot of them would like, but you never know who's looking for a job. We hit the jackpot with Paul, and we certainly weren't expecting that. So we're going to post it and see what we get and hope for the best, I guess, at this point.
So hopefully next meeting we'll have some information on that. That's all I have. Your turn.
I don't really have much. We've been preparing for the parade, all the behind the scenes stuff like permits and porta pots and sound system and all the things that we do. We're starting to get a few applications in, so that's good. It should pick up big time now that June is here. As Cameron spoke about with the 2 accidents, obviously the beacon lights got taken out here by Sonia's last week, and then the Welcome to Rainier sign got hit the Friday before that and did pretty extensive damage. You can't, it's not obvious if you're not looking for it, but if you stop and look at it, it's pretty drastic damage. So Cameron's going to get me the insurance info on those, and hopefully we'll be able to get some compensation for those. I forgot my list in my office and I can't remember what was on it. Oh, regarding Karen's retirement, I know we've all touched on that so far, but they are writing a little book for her. And so they asked if any of us have any memories or special words that we would like to include in her little memory book to email them. So if anybody wants to add anything to that, let me know and I can get you a copy of this that has the email address. Dennis, you might be interested in that since you know her so well. What else? I think that is it, actually. For now. You know, I always think of stuff later, so.
Any questions for Tammy? Thank you, Tammy. Okay, we'll go to new business. First item is, we added, there's a letter in there from Dominic regarding the sport court bids that did not come in like we thought they were, or hoping they would. And Dominic and I spoke on the phone last Thursday, and the 3 of us have all talked, and city staff, along with myself, are all in favor of Dominic's letter. That's why he put together this letter, and you can ask Dominic more questions, but from what I and Dominic talked about, we're hoping that if we repost it December, where maybe some people don't have work and they're looking to get work for springtime, where right now when we opened up bids, people pretty much got their summer work in, and the time frame to do a sports court pretty much needs to be good weather. So I think it makes sense. Dominic, turn it over to you. Adam, God. I'm sorry, I just looked at the city of, I know Adam, and your name, I know, not Adam, I'm sorry.
So as you can see, last Tuesday, we opened bids from 4 contractors. It came in nearly over $100,000 over the engineer's estimate. It says a few things. One, it's late in the year, and contractors aren't looking for work. They're booked for the summer. There were 8 contractors on the plant holders list. We were hoping for that many to bid on it, but it's just not a competitive climate right now. Do need to build it in the summer, though, for the paving and for the acrylic surfacing. One thing that I found, I was contacted by a couple of contractors. The acrylic surfacers were booked for the year months ago already. There's been so much new development in the area in the Puget Sound, and therefore more park facilities. So the best bet for that is to book them by January. If we could rebid this in November or January, we could get a probably more competitive bidding climate with the contractor, and they could line up an acrylic surfacer. The acrylic surfacing, they're not only booked, but it's very, it's sensitive, meticulous work because it can't be too warm, but it can't be too cold. So they're often working early in the morning or after 5 p.m. even in the summer. So, we should also be prepared possibly for, inflation keeps continuing. We should be, considering that bids might still come in over that engineer's estimate. We could adjust the estimate or possibly adjust the project. We did shave it down quite a bit though, and we're looking for other funding. Like I sent the mayor a new grant for park maintenance that maybe will take care of the basketball court in the future. So look at other options.
Any more questions for Adam, George?
You know, nobody's going to like this, but as a council member and a member of this community, I am terribly disappointed in this whole project. Is the price higher now because we didn't get the bid out earlier? You know, is nobody going to work on it now because we didn't put the bids out earlier again? This project was promised for last year, now this year, now it's next year, same with the restroom. I just don't understand why Rainier always gets to move to the back of the bus. I just don't. It goes with the county and with the state. And I think it's time the people that represent us took a stand with the county and the state, not to leave us in the dust every time. And not to have it cost the city more money when it probably was not the city's fault with these delays. That's all I have to say.
Okay, yeah, we worked on the project, when we could. Like I said, there's delays across the board. There's delays in engineering companies as well. I'm sorry about that.
So we're going to wait until December to put it out for bid again, and then we're going to find out it's too late. Why can't we put it out for bid now for next summer and book them now instead of in January?
The contractors aren't scheduling like that yet. So you have to book later in the year.
I don't know. Should we look someplace else to have this project done? I'm serious.
Look, George, I hear your frustration, and I don't have the answer.
I know you don't, but it just...
I don't think, this has kind of been my thing for 3 years, and I know I'm not happy because this is something I started 3 years ago. I got the county to kick in the money. I don't think we want to start the whole process over. I think where we are is we got to take what we're told. Now, you as a council could decide to say, we got the money, you're going to kick in more money, and we're going to do the project. But I don't think that is the best interest to, and that's why I'm supporting what Adam did, is I don't think we need to kick in another $100,000 because these bids came in high. So I think the option of pushing it off, even though none of us like that idea, and I understand, same thing with the bathroom cities, we got pushed off again.
Why did we get pushed off, Bob? Because nobody pushed back.
Well, I don't know if that's quite true. I understand the reason that bathrooms got pushed back is because they couldn't get the prefab building that they were going to put up because they're backward, which irritates the hell out of me. I agree with your frustration. But it's like the flashing signals. The reason they aren't in is because they're hard to get in back order. It's just. But I agree, there's been some staff letdown when they should have done things and they didn't. And that irritates me.
Ron?
Yeah, one comment I want to make is that I know the COVID funds was discussed as going away, that they're going to retract them, the federal government does. We still have the COVID funds on hand or not? Are we going to lose them?
No.
Okay. So I was concerned if we lose them, then maybe this would be an opportunity to keep them by spending them.
We have till the end of 24 to use them.
Okay, nothing changed with the battle of Congress over the debt.
Not that I have heard.
There was discussion on that bill. You might have Bill look into it. There was discussion on the billing that they would pull back all COVID funds not already spent.
Okay, I have not heard anything, and the gentleman at AWC is pretty good of keeping us informed, but I'll have Bill look into it.
Okay.
Any other comments? Now, I don't think we need a motion, but Bill is not here, and I did not want to disturb him after he'd already talked to Tammy today. I don't think we need a motion, but to cover our rear end, because we do need to notify these contractors that we're not accepting bids and stuff, I would like to have a motion if the council is going to support this.
I make a motion that we rescind the bidding.
I'll second that.
There's a motion, a second, to rescind the bids and revisit it in November. Can I add that to your motion, both of you? Any further discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, motion passed 4-1. Thank you, council. Okay, we will now go to 6-year TIB. Adam?
Mr. Mayor, should we move the Michigan Street crossing up before that? Because that may impact the 6-year TIB.
Council have any objection to that?
No objection.
I did not know it was going to affect that.
It might.
Okay, so we did an addendum to the agenda, and we had the Michigan Street crossings. So Dennis, you added that. What do you got in mind?
Well, I don't know what happened with that particular project. We've been working on it for several years. And one of the things that was supposed to happen is there's supposed to be flashing crossing signals at Michigan Street like we've done at the other ones. And somehow that kind of slipped away. I remember when we were starting this, one of the deals with WashDOT was for them to approve the crosswalk, and they came out and actually painted it, was that we were going to put in those flashing signals. And to kind of expand on that, one of the items on our TIB is sidewalks on Michigan Street from 507 all the way to the school, which basically is expanding the pedestrian access and safe routes to school. It doesn't make sense to me to spend a lot of money on sidewalks if you're not going to complete the project and put in the flashing signals to make it an obvious pedestrian crossing. So I'd like to see us somehow add that to our 6-year TIB.
Can that be done, Adam?
Yeah, I could revise that. How do you feel about the priority of it? Still number 3 then?
Well, I don't know that we want to add it to the Michigan Street sidewalk improvements, or if we want to make it additional, you know.
Yep, we could add another project there.
My concern about it, if we don't make it as an additional project, it could somehow create problems for us in getting those sidewalks.
Okay.
And I don't want to see that happen.
Where all do you want to see RFPs?
Hmm?
Where all do you want to see the rapid flashing beacons?
Oh, we're good everywhere. Once we finish Meyer Street, Michigan Street, I think, is our last one.
Just that, okay.
Did you have a chance, Adam, to research if that was supposed to be included in that project?
Yeah, I did contact John Hinton, and he said in his recollection, he believes it was discussed, but there wasn't funds to go through the process with WashDOT. So, and then Ron was in on that conversation, and he concurred. So that's what he remembers as well.
Okay.
Well, but in actuality, there's no funds for any of these projects. This is what we'd like to spend, but we have to get the money.
No, he's saying previously, when we put in the path on to Michigan,
Yeah.
you were thinking that they were already in that project, and no, they were
it was
not.
No,
Oh, okay.
no, the path was totally separate. It was done by the county, we paid for it, but it was done as a training exercise for the county, and that's why we got it so cheap.
Yeah. Okay. Your Ron was under the impression that you thought it was.
No,
Okay.
no, it was a separate deal.
So, Ron, how do you feel about trying to put beacon lights in for the Michigan?
I think it's a
Cross.
good safe factor. I'm not sure how many kids walk across the street to go to school. If there's any at all using the path, I think it would be advisable to have flashers.
Tom?
I'm a little on that. You know, about the priority factor of it.
Okay.
And I've gotten with Ron, I don't know how many kids actually would use that crosswalk
Okay.
on that. I think it's something that we should do, but I don't know if we should bump it up to the top priority list.
Okay. George?
I know that there are some kids that cross. I have no idea how many, but I do see people crossing there. That's all I can tell you. I think it needs to be done at some point.
Maureen?
Yeah, I'm kind of like Tom. I mean, I think that we need to maybe look into it a little bit more and just make, I mean, if there are kids crossing, we probably need it.
So Adam, you've heard feedback from everyone. Where would that fit in? I mean, it doesn't sound like it goes right in there to be added to Michigan Street sidewalk improvements unless, I hear what Dennis is saying, if we did a sidewalk, then it would seem to make sense to put the beacon lights in if we're having sidewalks. But right now where we don't have sidewalks on the other side of 507, sounds like council's, we're not sure how many people cross there. So Dennis, when I heard you, I think the first thing you said was it doesn't make sense to put the sidewalk in unless we have beacon lights. Is that kind of what I heard you say?
Yeah.
And I agree.
What's the point? If you're gonna put sidewalks in for pedestrians to use to cross there, why wouldn't you do it completely?
That's a tough spot when it's raining to see anybody going across the street. It really is.
So I'm hearing what the council's saying, Adam. Could we add to, and I know it may not be the priority, we're going to go to you here as soon as we finish this topic, but could Michigan Street sidewalk improvements also include beacon lights
Yes.
there? So council, are we okay with that?
Yeah.
Then we'll go back to our priority list. Does that take
Yeah.
care of what you wanted to amend the motion?
Works for me.
Everybody on the same page. So, Adam, we're going to add to item 3,
Yes.
Michigan Street sidewalk improvements to include beacon light crossings. Okay.
Yeah. And it's slated for 2026, so
Yeah.
this will be revisited a couple more times.
Yeah. Okay. Dennis, we okay with that amendment? Okay. Can we now go to the, since we're on this and everybody's got it in front of you, can we go ahead and go to the 6-year TFP?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, Adam, you're back up on agenda item number 2.
Okay. So the 6-year TIP, it's the same as you saw last year, except we took that Meyer Street crosswalk off because it is near completion now. And in general, costs increased by about 10% this year. So we'll see cost increases. Do you have any other comments about it? Efficiencies or things that, projects that you believe need more priority than others? Let me know now. We can also, we
I
just
think
talked
so.
about, we can move to adopt this under the condition that a traffic flashing beacon is added to Michigan Street sidewalk improvements.
I would make a motion that we adopt the 6-year STIP to include the flashing lights on the Michigan Street improvement.
Second.
and keeping the order the way it is right there.
Yeah,
Okay? And some of that chip seal we're hoping is going to get done with that agreement we've kind of got with the south part of the town. So some of the chip seal may come off this list.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Any other discussion?
I just wanted, on this STIP chart compared to last year, is there any way to put down what last year's, the order that they were in, and what they were? So if we've got a new item on, if it wasn't on last year's, or if we dropped an item, that we would know by looking.
Yeah, we could probably do with last year's too. But yeah, it is the same. Nothing has changed in priority, just so you know.
So Adam, can I ask why there's nothing in 2025 for construction start?
Well, you'll see the roundabout, and that's a huge deal to get funded. The total cost is $6.5 million, and so it's quite a bit of engineering design as well. So that would start in 2025, and the construction would start in 2026.
Gotcha.
So I mean that's a monster of a project if you compare to the rest of them.
Right.
Can I ask a question on who's funding that project?
That remains to be seen.
Is the city liable for any monies for that project moving
That
forward?
remains to be seen. We'd have to see what kind of funding came up. It's on 507, so you're open to possibly larger sources of funding.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking if the city is liable to make some sort of payment on that, then maybe we don't want the project.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's as simple as that. Why should we pay for something we didn't ask for?
Yeah, I mean, these projects, they're not for certain that they need to be constructed. They're just, the Transportation Improvement Board asks that each city, as they want to be considered for any funding that comes up, they provide a list, a planning document that shows that they're, actively looking at all of their ratings that you can find on the website. They last rated all of the streets in Rainier in 2020, so none of the condition ratings of the streets have been updated. That might be updated again in the next few years, that someone goes around and checks all of the streets and rates them. So that's partially what this is based on and what they consider, what they take into consideration.
Basically, we need to have things on the list if we want to get funding. If you're over the years, a lot of times we end up getting funding for different projects, and the engineer will come to us and say, hey, we can fund this. You want to move it ahead of the list. I mean, the roundabout, if you remember right, George, has been on our list for at least 6 years, and I think it's been 1 or 2, and it's never got there, but we've got different projects done every year. Did I say that kind of right, Adam?
Yeah. Roundabouts are notoriously difficult to get moving and constructed because they're so expensive. There's so much that actually goes into them when you get down to it. Because of the priority on here, like the priority number, doesn't mean that that's the project that has to be funded next. They could say, oh, wow, that's more funding than possible. Let's move on. What do they have next?
Jim, on your side of the engineering and the meeting we had earlier today, would any of that money fall into helping with this on getting some of this money, or is that something totally separate?
No. So I think you're alluding to is if we have a developer come in and they have some improvements that would be required of them by code, but they don't really offer an improvement. Just a good example is if you do a project, frontage improvements are required, curb, gutter, and sidewalk in a space where it's going nowhere, right? They're building a new building, curb, gutter, and sidewalk are required. We could actually take a fee in lieu of that and be able to take that money and put it as our match to one of these projects on the list or another. typically it's to the projects on the list. That's kind of how that works. So yes, we could have a developer offer us a fee in lieu of place some hard improvements to help jumpstart us on one of these projects.
Okay.
We have been having, I'll stop. We've had many projects where we're doing deferrals, like up at Tipsoo Loop and other places where you see a 2-lot short plat and those would technically be required to have front improvements. But there's no sense and no need to put curb, gutter, and sidewalk for 100 feet of going nowhere. It makes no sense to do that. So that's what we look at when it comes to some of these projects also.
So we may have some money coming in this in lieu of that would be able to help with some of these projects from what we've been hearing. Okay. Any more discussion? Okay. So there's a motion and a second to approve the 6-year STIP calendar. Any further discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed 5-0. Thank you, council. Resolution 550. Approval of the 6-year. Did we just do that, Adam?
Yeah.
So we took care of item C.
Well, we still need to approve the resolution. Although it seems redundant, it's the same.
I move that we approve the resolution for the 6-year TIP plan.
Second.
We'll give that to Ron.
Okay.
There's a motion and a second to approve resolution 550 to approve the 6-year TIP. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed 5-0. Thank you, council. We'll now move to what I entered as item 4. Dennis, you wanted us to add something about a candidate form.
I want to bring it up before the council. I talked to Bill. We're kind of in an unusual situation, which I think is good. We have 2 positions open, and George is not running again, so we have 3 candidates, which is kind of an unheard of thing for us. And I would like to see not a debate, but a forum where voters can meet and hear the 3 candidates and have an opportunity to kind of gauge them. Bill says the city can sponsor something like that. I actually would prefer if someone like We Love Rainier would do it, but it just, it's interesting. It's good to me to see that we have more people in the community interested in being part of our local government.
Yeah, I'd be all for that. I really would. I mean, I would like to see the forum also to include current council so that citizens can ask us questions. I think that's almost as important as a forum for new candidates. So I'm all for it. I'm all for seeing if we can set it up something like
Ron?
I'm in favor of it.
Tom?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Maureen?
Yeah, I'm fine with a forum for the new candidates, but not the old candidates or the old council people.
Okay, Dennis, why don't you take it? I do believe that it needs to be called a forum. We don't use the D word anymore. We call.
Oh, no, I wasn't looking for a debate.
I know, but
Yeah.
we've said it twice tonight already, and
Yeah.
it needs to be a form from what I got from Bill. We don't want to call it the D. So it's a candidate form,
Yeah,
and if you want to take the lead by that, I would encourage us to try to find an outside group and let them run it rather than be a council member doing it. I just think it's cleaner and looks good.
well, I think it would be too.
So-
I mean, the city could do it, but I think it'd be better an outside group.
Yeah, we could do it, and I'm sure there's other groups that could do it, just somebody else has just got to put it together, and that's all.
And I don't think this facility is big enough, so I think if We Love Rainier maybe sponsored it.
We could do it at the senior
at the
center,
senior
the
center.
church, we could even do it
Yeah,
at the
there's
school.
several places. But I have another problem. Bill suggested that we do it on Tuesday, July 25th. The problem with that is the ballots are going to be out on July 12th. And a lot of people get the ballots back in.
That's for the November election, the ballots?
No, that's for the primary.
Oh, the primary,
This-
okay.
This is the primary. And so if we wait till like the 25th, a lot of people already have voted and never had an opportunity to meet the candidates. So anyway, I can work on that if I can find a sponsor.
I think we got support from the council. You know, I think in part depends on who wants to do it. It could be We Love Rainier, it could be the local Cub Scouts group, you know, it could be somebody, and then leave it up to them to trying to get the high school or some facility to do it at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does everybody know who the candidates are? Just Damian Green, Ryan Roth, and Kirby McDonald. I don't know all those people. I've met one just because he used to work here at the auto shop, but you know, I'm sure most of the city's that way. Anyway, I will. I'll work on that and I'll get with some people.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, council. Okay, we'll move to old business. Any old business? Okay, look for a motion.
Old business, how did it come out with the meeting with the county you were having last month on the nitrate levels and requirements, and never give us a full back on that?
Yeah. Was that since our last meeting?
Yep.
I was thinking we'd already given you a report. I apologize. So yes, we met with the county. They did not like our wells. Only one of the wells had data that they could take from. And that was a well over here in the Trotter Downs area. And so where it's left at now is they have accepted the data in that well. And that does affect one of our builders that can now move on with adding apartment complexes. The builder that was really pushing to get this done. The other projects in town are still on hold. Did I say that correctly?
Sure.
Now, will you take over the part about how you felt we left the meeting and what we're doing with the rest?
Sure. So just to follow up on what the mayor mentioned here is the data we got was not completely usable. 4 of the wells were dry. We expected water to come in over the winter and it didn't. So while we were waiting for water to come in and be able to test those, it didn't happen. The county did accept one of our wells and added it into their model. So what happens is they're able to model that area within a region around that well and get some decent accurate information for that area. What they would like to have is some additional information to still update their overall model. They offered to come to the table and help us find some funding to extend those wells or dig some additional wells. And also Mr. Chavez met us in that meeting and was talking about that, trying to help Rainier out and find some money to do that. What I also discussed with them prior to that was, I believe there's a couple developers out here that are willing to put a well in themselves and it can be double-edged sword on this. They can sink a well in next to the property they want to do. It's benefit to their property, but it also allows us to update our model. Good part is that it could show that the water is perfectly fine and it unhooks their project, right? Gets it moving. Or it could come back and show that the water is tainted there, and tainted is not the right word, higher than the levels, and it would not allow the project to move on. There's developers that are willing to take that chance to move this along, and also helps us validate our model. We left the meeting with that in touch, and for me to reach out to these developers and ask them if they would be interested in doing a well on their property. I'm in progress of touching base with them now and trying to figure out that. If we do have a couple of them that are willing to work with us, that cost would be their burden, and in the hopes that it gets their project moving, but it also helps us too.
These would just be test wells?
What they are is essentially a test well. It's a monitoring well. We go down 70, 80. In this instance, we're going to need to go down until we find water, and then be able to monitor the water at that point. Okay. Agreed?
Yeah, and I apologize. I was somehow thinking that we met 2 meetings ago. Ron, I'm glad you brought that up because we needed to cover that. Does that answer your question?
That does, thank you very much.
Yeah, so. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have one other item, just a matter of curiosity. I'd like to know who this young lady is. Sitting here taking notes, we don't usually have that.
I'm Dina Wagner. I'm a longtime resident of Rainier, Washington. I grew up here, went to school here. My parents are longtime citizens of Rainier, so I was just interested in what the council is about. I've never been to a meeting before.
Okay.
I'm also a board member of We Love Rainier, so I know that we work hand in hand with a lot of really great projects together. So I'm really excited to hear more about what we can do and help support the city with some of our ideas and promotions. So that's why I'm here.
Well, welcome and thank you for coming. It's unusual to see somebody sitting there taking notes. Yeah, I was thinking, my God, did the NBN react already?
Well, it's a long time habit, being a teacher. Well, I'm retired now, but it's a long time habit of always having notes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Now,
Second.
there's a motion and a second to adjourn. Any further discussion? I see no further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you.
You know,
Meeting officially adjourned at 6:01.